When life tries to break you, some people break records instead. And Rishabh Pant is living proof that no accident, no injury, no tragedy can stop a man whose spirit refuses to give up, because this is not just about cricket. This is about fighting back from the edge of death and roaring louder than ever before. There was a time when the entire cricketing world held its breath. Not for his sixes, not for his match-winning knocks, but praying that this young man, who once entertained millions with his fearless shots, would simply survive another night, because Rishabh Pant, India's swashbuckling wicket-keeper batsman, found himself staring at the end of his career, his dreams, and even his life after a terrifying car accident that turned his world upside down in the blink of an eye. On that cold December morning, Rishabh was driving back home to surprise his mother. His mind probably filled with memories, matches, and laughter, when his car hit a divider at high speed, flipped multiple times, and caught fire, leaving him trapped, battered, and bleeding on a lonely highway with no guarantee that he'd ever hold a bat again. And in that horrifying moment, the world didn't see a superstar. They saw a young man clinging to life with shattered legs, torn ligaments, broken bones, and a million unanswered questions. But what the accident didn't break was his resolve. Because while the headlines spoke of surgeries, hospital stays, and months of uncertainty, what people didn't see was the pain behind those social media smiles, the tears behind those rehabilitation videos, the silent nights where he questioned if he could ever sprint down the pitch again, crouch behind the stumps, or dive full length to pluck a screamer. And yet, every single day he chose to fight. Not because he wanted the spotlight back, but because cricket is not just his profession, it's his heartbeat. Imagine waking up each day with rods in your legs, stitches on your forehead, scars that remind you of that brush with death, and a long road of painful physiotherapy sessions where each step feels like a battle. But that's exactly what Rishabh Pant did. With a smile that defied the odds, inspiring millions of fans and even his teammates who now call him the comeback king. Because he didn't just heal, he transformed, rebuilding his body, mind, and soul into something stronger than before. While many would have retired quietly, accepting that their best days were behind them, Pant turned every setback into fuel for his comeback, sharing glimpses of his grueling rehab, the endless hours in the gym, the sweat, the tears, and the hope that kept him going. And slowly but surely, the cricket nets welcomed him back, the gloves found their place in his hands, the bat began to dance once more. And every shot he played in practice was a slap in the face of fate that tried to silence his story too soon. And when he finally stepped back onto the field, wearing that Indian jersey again, the roar from the stands wasn't just for the runs he'd score or the catches he'd take, but for the warrior who showed us that heroes aren't born when they lift trophies. They are born when they refuse to stay down when life knocks them flat on their back. Rishabh Pant's comeback is not just a sports headline, it's a life lesson, reminding every one of us that no matter how brutal the fall, how hopeless the situation, how impossible the comeback seems, if your spirit is unbreakable, you can write your own fairy tale and inspire generations to never give up. Because sometimes the greatest victories happen off the field, far away from the cameras, in the silent hours when you choose to stand up one more time than you fall. So next time you see Pant smashing boulders out of the park with that trademark smile, remember, this isn't just a six. It's a message to the world that you can't keep a fighter down, that from the ashes of broken bones and burned dreams, a stronger, hungrier, and even more fearless Rishabh Pant has risen, not just to play but to conquer, to entertain, and to remind us all that champions are not defined by the trophies they lift but by the storms they survive. Because if there's one thing Rishabh Pant's story teaches us, it's this. When life tries to end your innings, you come back, you fight back, and you play your greatest knock yet. Because the spirit of a true player, a true warrior, a true champion never retires. Rishabh Pant, the comeback king. Remember his name? Because every time he steps onto the field, he's not just playing for runs. He's playing for every dream that refused to die.